Hi, and welcome to this edition of RamTV's Culture, Media, and Technology. Today we flew over to the academic building for a Russian enrichment presentation given by ASU's own Russian international student, Valerie Kuripko.
So my name is Valerie, and I'm from the Russian town called Krasnodar. It's about a 1 million citizen population. And I came to San Angelo as a student, exchange student, when I was 19 from Kuban State University, and I stayed here for 1 year as an exchange student. Then I was studying international business, and then I decided to come back after I got my degree in Russia. I decided to come back to ASU and got my master's in business. And just finished and found a job, and planning to stay in the United States for a few more years.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, уважаемые дамы и господа, добрый вечер. Welcome you to the Russian Enrichment Program, which is like Matryoshka, a stackable Russian nesting doll you might have seen in stores and on TV. Each program delivers a new and different view of a subject relating to the study of Russian language and culture. Scholars and ASU students deliver informative presentations throughout the previous semesters, on various topics of interest pertaining to Russian culture, Russian language, Slavic people, literature, Russian espionage. We even serve Russian food. Today's presentation is for our fall 2011 semester. Is the first of series, and will be on Russian culture. There will be remaining 2 programs, one in October and one in November. Each program is on the third Tuesday of the month in this room, beginning at 5:30 p.m. I hope you'll be able to join us. The October program is on the Battle of Stalingrad, and the November program is the environmental degradation in the former Soviet Union and Russia. Our speaker for today is Ms. Valerie Kuripko. Valerie, you were born and raised in Russia. You came from?
The city is called Krasnodar. It's at the Black Sea, from the southern states. And it's about a little bit less than a million population city, I would say 900,000 people live there. And in our state, another city called Sochi in 2014, little town, so we'll probably hear about it pretty soon, in 2 years.
And everybody knows the Black Sea from geography, probably. You studied at the university in Krasnodar, at the Kuban State University. What's the size of that university, approximately?
I would have to say a little bit, but it's a little bit bigger than Angelo State University. I would say twice bigger. Not like campus-wise, but
You studied there, but then when you were 19, you came here to Angelo State University as an exchange student. What did you study there?
Business. I studied international business here for 1 year as an undergrad student, and came back to finish my degree in Russia because our program, they're not 4 years, but 5 years instead.
So you went back to Russia, finished your degree then, and came back here to receive?
I just got my master's in business, MBA here from Angelo State University. So
congratulations. By the way, just this evening, I knew that Valerie was going to stay here for a few years, work here, and apply to different places for a job. Well, you know it's not easy to find a job when you're just right out of school. Well, it so happened that this evening Valerie said, I got a job. Would you be willing to tell us where?
Yesterday I got a job, and it's in Pittsburgh, and so I'm planning to move there like in the next 2 weeks or so. It's the Woodall steel company, but it's owned by Russians, so they needed somebody who speaks Russian.
Speaking of languages, Russian is your native language. Obviously, you fluent in English, but aside from these 2 languages, you're rather fluent in
Yeah, my first foreign language was English, and I started it when I was 6 years old, and then German, and I started when I was in the seventh grade, and Spanish when I was at university. I would say I started it for like 3-4 years.
When you studied the languages, did you also study the culture of America? So you came here, you were all aware of the differences?
Like studying in school, like I went to that's what we call English school. There was a gymnasium, and in our city we had two schools. And those kind of schools, English is one of the main subjects, one of the main classes, besides Russian, math, some few others. So we had a lot of classes, English classes. So of course we started history, especially, but in Russia we mainly study British English. That's the difference. But I mean, when you come here, it's not a big, you just maybe need a few months or so to adopt. Yeah. I mean, it's taxes.
Right.
It's not really.
Well, so will your presentation today allow guests to feel comfortable learning language of Russian? Let's see. Let's welcome Valerie Kuripko.
Coming and for your interest in Russian culture. And when Eva told me about, when she asked me to be a speaker today, first she mentioned, the topic will be Slavic pop culture. And I was like, okay. So I wasn't sure about if I could talk about Slavic pop culture because, I'm not familiar with cultures of other countries in Eastern Europe. I mean, kind of, but I never lived there or visited. So, just to give you a brief, just an idea of what, Slavic people are, like, we are considered to be East Slavs, Russians, Ukrainians, Belarusians, but there are also West Slavs, Polish, Czechs, and Slovaks, and South Slavs. And the total number in the world, in general, it's about like 50 million people, and just 1/3 of them are Russians. But it doesn't mean that all people who live in Russia are Slavs, right? Because we have more than 180 ethnic groups, and all those colors that you see on the map, that's basically, they're states. They're all states, all different regions. And some of them have name of the republic, some of them no. But 10 years ago, there were 89 states in Russia. And right now, there are 83. That's why when people here sometimes ask me, so how many states are in Russia? And I was like, 80 something. Because, there was just the last few years that were just combining some of them. So you never know, like, did they change something? Maybe they just, didn't change their name or something like that. But you can notice that most of them are, geographically, they separated geographically. So here, for example, there's Ural Mountains, and you can tell, easily that this part is not that much. It's not that populated as the European parts. I live right there, so I mean, I can imagine this tiny place, and here is the whole country. And to be honest with you, I've been just to a few neighbor states right here, and Moscow and St. Petersburg. So that's all. I mean, I've never traveled really in the country, and that's how most people do. They don't really. I mean, it's just unless you're, I don't know, it's a long way. And you can go by train or fly somewhere, but that's really tough to travel. And also, if most people here, I guess, have an image of the Russian person as a European looking and probably blonde, something like that. But some people who live here, and that's their, they live there, in the eastern parts or more closer to Mongolia, they look like Asians. They're still Russians, and they've lived there forever. But it's not like they have like different nationalities, different cultures, traditions, and languages. In many states, they have their own language. I mean, official language is Russian, but besides that, they also have some like other languages. Okay. To talk about culture, first, I decided to talk a little bit more about holidays because it's also parts of our culture and it's different. Our most important holiday is New Year, not Christmas, and I think it's mainly due to Soviet times, because those times Christmas, it wasn't even, or any, like most of the religious holidays were not even worth it. So I guess that time people started to celebrate New Year more than Christmas, and it's been several generations already lived that way. So now what we have is just people still remember that, and they still celebrate New Year more than Christmas. And on New Year, we have a lot of things that you have for Christmas, tree, and we decorate it, and we give presents, basically everything but it's for New Year. This picture is our Santa Claus, but we call it Bottle Frost, like literally. And main difference between Santa Claus and the Russian Santa Claus is that ours he has long fur coats usually, and it not necessarily need to be red. Sometimes it's blue, and we don't have those special Christmas colors like you have red and green. We don't have it. And that's his granddaughter. So it's, her name is Enrichment. And that's the way. But we celebrate Christmas on January 7th, and that's what most people ask. Why is it not December 25th? And it's because differences in calendars. Thing is, a long time ago, everybody were using a calendar that's Julian calendar, right? And then in 1582 in Europe, they switched it to, because Julian calendar was not that accurate, and they found out. So they switched to Gregorian calendar. That was, it's named Gregorian because of the Pope Gregory XIII. So what happened is a lot of European countries started to use another calendar, and Russia didn't. We still use the old one. But the difference wasn't that big, because what happened just with every 100 years, the difference between two becoming like just one day. So every century, the difference became bigger in just one day. And Russia changed it only in 1918, several centuries after, and only after the revolution. The revolution was in 1917, and that's when it became Russian, Soviet Union. So, but our Russian Orthodox Church, they refused to change it, so they kept the old calendar. So that's how we have, during that time, like starting, right now it's 13th day difference. So that's why we have it January 7th. Another holiday, and all those holidays in this list are, people don't go to school, people don't go to work, they're like official federal holidays. So that's the Defender of the Motherland Day. It's on February 23rd, and originally it was the day of Soviet Army, and then it just became a day to honor all the soldiers. But now it's more like Men's Day, what we call it. So it's not just, you know, for people who served and, you know, just for, because we have Women's Day, we have International Women's Day, and I guess they decided, why do they have Women's Day for all women, and, you know, let's have for all men. So that's what they had, and it's called international. It's not real international for the women. It's Russia, former Soviet republics, and some European countries, Eastern European countries. That's it. It's not that international. Another one, Spring and Labor Day on May 1st, and it was in the Soviet Union. It was called International Workers' Day, and they celebrated with parades. But not anymore. We don't have any parades now, and I don't really know what people, you know, they just have extra day they don't go to work. That's basically another occasion to go and drink something. That's basically it. Another day, another holiday, it's Victory Day. It's on May 9th, and that's what we celebrate at the end of World War II. And that day we actually have parades. They have huge military parades in Moscow, and all big cities, they have their own. So for example, our city is big enough to have our own parade. And that day, starting in the morning, they show on TV the whole day with parades, like half a day I guess, and then the whole week, and like the day before this day, they show all the movies about war, about all the military. That's how they celebrate. Russia Day, June 12th. That's a pretty new holiday. They started to celebrate it in 1992, and basically it's, you know, they're celebrating that it's like equivalent to Independence Day, I would say. After the collapse of Soviet Union and New Russia. Another one, it's Unity Day, and it's a brand new holiday. They started to celebrate it on in 2005. So, and first people were a little bit confused. I was like, what are we celebrating now? You know, I mean, people are glad to have another holiday, but, you know, but what it is, it's basically, commemorates there was an uprising led by, you know, two people, and which are, you know, they have monuments in Moscow for them, and that basically attracted the Polish invaders from Moscow in 1612. So it's like basically, I guess somebody was just reading history and like, okay, there's something happened in 1612. And they just made a holiday out of it. But I was glad because that's my birthday and nobody works that day. I was like, yeah, you know, kind of fun. It's like the whole country's celebrating my birthday. There's some other holidays, and those are mainly celebrated by, almost celebrated by Muslims. And, you know, in some of the states we have a lot of Muslims over there, so just, I don't know a lot about it, but there are also official holidays in our country. There's some other holidays that people still go to work and to school and everything, but you know, they're kind of important. So that's New Year according to old calendar, Julian calendar, and it's in Russian. It sounds very funny because it sounds like old New Year. I mean, it does make sense. Why is it Old New Year? But that's how we call it. And people, you know, start celebrating on 31st of December, you know, before New Year, and keep celebrating till January 14th, because it's like, yeah, it's still, you know, it's Christmas in between, and then Old New Year. So 2 weeks, and they don't go to work for at least 10 days. It's like official 10 days, and then sometimes it's 2 weeks depending. You know.
champagne manufacturing companies are pretty happy about that one, I suppose.
Yeah, because yes, you drink champagne, yeah, but then people switch to other drinks. So yeah, Easter, it's not, I guess, it's different. I mean, we celebrate it, but for example, this year, I believe it was the same day. It was the same day, Catholic and Orthodox, it's the same day. But it depends from year to year. That's a picture actually of some traditional Easter, let's say, we color eggs, and we don't have Easter bunny. I'm so sorry, but the thing is, at work, when I was still working here, and my coworker asked me, so do you have Easter bunny in Russia? No. No way. I mean, this is impossible. So when you were a kid, you never did like egg hunt or anything? No. I'm like, oh my god, like poor kid, So what she did this Easter, she brought to the office, like plastered up those eggs with candies and toy Easter bunny, and so she made me egg hunt. I hid it in the office. And I was like, you need to do that at least once in your life. So I did it this year. So what they do in Russia, we color eggs, and this is bread. It's sweet bread, and it's with raisins inside. And on the top, it's not powder; it's icing. And sometimes they do decorate it a little bit more. And this thing is made from some type of cottage cheese, because cottage cheese here in Russia is different, like completely different. Taste, texture, everything. And this one is a special one because it's sweet and it has raisins too. And what people do that day, early in the morning, they go to church and they bring food. They bring those eggs and something else, what they want. And what they do, they just wait till the priest will go, and the priest will have holy water. So he will sprinkle, people and whatever they brought, like food. And then people go back home and bring that holy food back home. So that's the first thing you do this day, in the morning for breakfast. You eat one of those eggs. So that's main thing. We have some other holidays like Maslenitsa and Ivan holiday, and both those two holidays are pagans holidays. But they still exist. I mean, we still do celebrate them. And for example, Maslenitsa, it was a day when people we make not pancakes, but more like crepes, because they're thin and bigger size, and they make a bunch of them, really. And those days, this pancake or crepe, it symbolized the sun. So it was for the god of sun. So what they did, it's basically symbolized like the end of winter the spring starts, and also they have this straw effigy, kind of they wear women's clothes on it and then burn it. And on Sunday they'll burn it, and it will be like a huge bonfire. And a long time ago, people even threw like those pancakes into this fire. It's basically like festival, like doing something like sacrifice for the god of sun. And it's not like that anymore, but people still have this figure of like a woman, something from the straw sometimes, but it's more civilized, and people still make pancakes. And actually, this is not just one day, it's the whole week. It starts on Monday and ends on Sunday, and Sunday is called when everybody forgives everybody, like the forgiveness Sunday. So we were supposed to ask for forgiveness from everybody. Doesn't matter if you did something wrong or did something bad, doesn't matter. So another one is also pagans demonic holiday, and they translate it as Feast of Saint John the Baptist. I'm not sure that that's the correct translation, but what people used to do, that young people used to jump over the flames of bonfires that day at night, and girls will float wreaths of flowers in the river, and also they will try to, young girls or women will tell fortunes to each other. They're trying to, not with cards like some people do, but something different, like they use mirrors and candle, and what they were trying to do is just to find out who will be their future husband. So, or they'll see his face in the mirror, or something like, we'll hear his name, something like that. So, and Christianity came to Russia in 1998. So it's over, yeah, over 900, yeah. So it's over a century. I'm not sorry. Over 1,000 years ago, right? So those holidays existed, I don't know how long, maybe 2,000 years, 3,000, I don't know, and they still celebrate them. Not all of them, but at least those two. This last one on this list is Tatiana Day, and that's saint's name. She became a saint, and she is saint for patron saint for students. So that day, students kind of do something to celebrate this day. Okay. Something just I thought talk a little bit more about how people live and what's different in our cultures. Here are some pictures, and they're actually were made in my city. This one is like markets, and we still have open markets. We have shopping centers, we have malls, we have supermarkets, but people still have open markets. And people go there because they can buy food, fresh food, and it will be cheaper, and sometimes they can bargain, on price. So, but main difference is like here, you just drive and park and go to the store and go back. If you go to the market, it's really hard to park anywhere nearby. So, and people use mainly public transportation. So you take all those bags, plastic bags, and you carry those heavy bags with all this food, and you use like tram, trolley bus, and it takes you like 20 minutes, and then you walk, and usually women do that, and they do that after work sometimes on high heels. So and then they go home and they live in their apartments, and it's more like could be like the elevator doesn't work, so you go upstairs in those high heels, those heavy bags. So that's a common thing. Nobody complains about that. That's life. So I really appreciate here you just park right there, 5 minutes, go back. Those are trams. Those kind of light trains, and we have trolley buses, taxis, those kind of small buses that will fit 10, 15 people, and they work basically like taxis. And in bigger cities, they also have subways. Our city doesn't. So, a lot of people, it's not like every family has a car, but sometimes it's just too complicated to have more than one because you don't use it. Because you most likely, if you wait in traffic somewhere, then it could be faster to use public transportation and get somewhere than wait for hours standing just in the park. Those are type of apartments where most people live, and sometimes they're 9-story buildings, sometimes higher, 12. And they have elevators, and most of them have somewhere like a little shop. Sometimes it's in each of those buildings, sometimes like each neighborhood has. So it's not like you need to drive somewhere to the supermarket. You just go downstairs, and there's always a little shop, just a tiny one, but you can always buy something necessary there. This markets. That's from my city. That's winter, and traffic. And those kind of markets.
Snowfalls approximately when?
In our city, it's mainly starts in middle or end of January. Sometimes everybody hopes to have snow on 1st of January, but very often it doesn't happen, and everybody's very disappointed when it rains. But yeah, and mainly it's February, like in our city. But Moscow is different, and especially if you talk about some known cities.
In Siberia.
Yeah, I guess they have just 3 months that doesn't snow. That's St. Petersburg, kind of just a few pictures to show, and you can tell it's different. And I consider St. Petersburg to be the prettiest city in Russia. So, okay. Another thing, when it's like, okay, what else I could talk about culture? Birthdays. We do the same thing. I mean, give presents, but there's one thing. In Russia, you're not supposed to celebrate birthday before this actual date. It could be that date or after. Never before. And here it doesn't matter. I mean, sometimes people will tell you like, "Oh, happy birthday." I was like, "No, it's not my birthday yet." And here they'll have surprise parties. We don't have surprise birthday parties. They'll have surprise parties before your actual birthday. We don't do that. It's just birthday. It's kind of like bad luck. And also for the birthdays, the person whose birthday it is, he is in charge. Like if he invites somebody, for example, to go eat, like to the restaurant, he's paying for everybody. That's the rule. People are not paying for themselves. So that's why it's very expensive if you invite somebody. That's why people don't have real like big parties. They'll have like invite maybe maximum 10 people, because like you don't want to pay for 20-30 people, what they're gonna order, so. And when you give flowers to somebody, doesn't matter if it's wedding or birthday, it's always need to be an odd number of flowers, never even number, because it's also even number. It's just for people who died. So you bring it to the grave, you bring like to the funeral, but never to live person. But here in Nexus, people don't know that. So every time I go to the store, if I need to buy flowers, most of the bouquets have even numbers. I was like,
so that's why when you brought me flowers, you kept one in the car. You gave me an odd number.
Yeah, I mean, usually, if you have something, you just take one away or do something, do something with it. So, for the weddings, that's actually a picture of one of the weddings, but it's, people also, they have wedding by the states, just go sign, be official. But some people also do it in the church, but it's not necessary. It's not like if you get married, you need to do that by the state. But that's up to you if you want to go. If you want to do that in church.
So, but it was a really good experience, and I was glad to be a speaker today and talk about my culture. And I'm glad that so many people were interested. So.